To discuss, let's bring in Evan Bernstein, the New Jersey Regional Director of the Anti-Defamation League. Evan, thank you for joining us. You saw the apology from the newspaper, the first one, the second one. Yep. Do you accept it? Do you find it sufficient?
You know, our CEO, Jonathan Greenblatt, tweeted out today a couple of tweets on this second apology. And, you know, we feel that this is a good first step for the New York Times to have this kind of acknowledgement. We clearly wish it, happened in the first round of apologies. And I think, again, hopefully this is a seminal moment for the New York Times to understand that their editorial board and their staff can never let this kind of thing happen. Even though there was a group giving the cartoons to the paper, there needs to be better oversight. Clearly through the apology, I think they understand that, but they have to do a better job. A second cartoon even came out with President Netanyahu holding a selfie stick, and which is also something that we had a lot of issues with at the ADL. And I think it's critical that now they said it, now they're acknowledging it, but now there needs to be protocols put in place to allow for these things never to happen again and stopgaps.
You know, the editorial board didn't mince words over the cartoon, calling in and pointing out the fact that, it's bigoted, saying the numbness of the creep of anti-Semitism is there. How do we combat that when cartoons like this appear in mainstream news outlets that are protected by the First Amendment?
It's very difficult. You know, these are private entities and they can choose what they want to put in. So from a free speech perspective, they can choose again what they put out there. And I think, when I started the EDL 6 years ago and I started learning more and more about anti-Semitism, the kinds of ads that I saw that were like this were ones from the 30s in Europe, and the ones that are more recent are the ones in some of the Middle Eastern countries that are running these kinds of ads. And to see it really from the gold standard of what America and the world sees as the New York Times, it's something that it crests over now into a place that I certainly never thought I would see the New York Times run a cartoon like that.
Evan, the editorial by the Times board also mentioned a report by the ADL with shocking numbers. According to your data, in 2018, here in this country, there were a total of 1,879 attacks against Jews. What are you reading into these numbers? How concerned should we be?
Yeah. They have 1,879 incidents of harassment that includes harassment, vandalism, assaults on the Jewish people. It's the third highest number since we've been tracking since 1979. And it averages out to 5 incidents of anti-Semitism per day. And that is really, really staggering.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Here in New York, we had a 55% increase in anti-Semitic attacks. New Jersey saw an increase in
How
K
do you
through
explain
12.
that?
There's been a lot in Brooklyn. There's been a lot all over the country. There's an overall number across the country is up in assaults. New York, we had issues in Brooklyn that have been well documented over the year. We're trying really hard as an organization to start building more bridges and trying to get people to talk. It doesn't mean if there's bad communication, there shouldn't be assaults. Clearly, no one deserves that, but we think we need to start building those bridges so these kind of things don't happen.
We've been reporting a lot on the rise of anti-Semitism that seems to be growing, not just in the U.S., but around the world. I mean, what's your take on that?
Things have been, in Europe have been unfortunately really difficult for quite some time. I was just in Stockholm in March speaking, and actually I was walking down the street and I saw a massive SS spray painted in a very prominent area in Stockholm.
It's growing, though.
It's growing. For sure it's growing. You see the numbers, you see what the press is putting out. The Atlantic magazine, the Jews have a history or future in Europe right now.
Evan Bernstein, Regional Director of the Anti-Defamation League, thanks for being here.
Thank you.